You may think you don't know enough to start an online business. What if the problem isn't that you don't know enough? What if you've simply stopped noticing the value of what you already have, what you already know? Because I see people doing this all the time. They think they need another certification, another 6 months of learning. And I'm beginning to think that's exactly what keeps some people from ever starting. Because here's what happens. You go online, you see somebody teaching a course, somebody building a community or writing a book, somebody else coaching, somebody sitting in front of a camera talking very confidently about something they know. And you begin to think, what would I talk about? What do I know? What do I carry that anybody would want? Or who am I to teach anybody anything? And then comes the big one. I need to learn more first. So you do. You watch more videos, you buy another course, you research another business model, and you save another 20 videos to watch later. And now you have notebooks full of information. And 6 months later, you know more, but you still haven't started. So maybe knowledge isn't the real problem. Maybe we're looking in the wrong direction. So instead of constantly asking, what else do I need to learn? Maybe we need to stop and ask, what have I already learned that could help somebody else? Because when you think about this, if you're 50 and beyond, you've spent decades learning things. And I'm not just talking about schooling or acquiring degrees. And I'm not even necessarily talking about your career. I'm talking about life, real life. You've solved problems, made decisions. You've worked with other people and figured things out. And you've made mistakes. You've also recovered from some of those mistakes. And then there are the times you got things totally wrong and you had to start again. So if you look close enough, you've probably helped people through situations you've already been through yourself. So somewhere along the way, you've learned things. But here's the problem. You may not think any of those things as valuable knowledge because it's yours. It's familiar. And you've been doing some of these things for so long that they don't feel particularly valuable anymore. It's like second knowledge. So when somebody asks, how do you know how to do that? Or you're so good at that, the usual response would be, oh, that's nothing. And truthfully, I wouldn't say nothing. It isn't nothing to the person who doesn't know how to do it. Now we need to stop here for a minute because I believe that's where a lot of us miss what we have. What comes naturally to you looks ordinary to you, but can be incredibly valuable to somebody else. And you know why? Because you're standing on the other side of something they've only just encountered. Maybe you know how to organize something or how to teach. Maybe you're good at explaining complicated things quite simply. Or maybe you've learned how to manage money. Or you may have homeschooled your kids or care for an aging parent. And maybe you love gardening or you've rebuilt your life after divorce. You've done something and overcome some things that could help someone else. But when you look at those situations, you says, I'm not an expert. So what exactly do we mean by expert? Do you have to know everything before you can help somebody else? Of course not. You don't have to be the greatest gardener in the world to help somebody plant their first vegetable garden. You don't have to be the world's leading authority on organization to help somebody who's completely overwhelmed create order in their home. And you don't have to know everything about a problem to know more than the person who is encountering it for the first time. Sometimes you're simply a few steps ahead, and those few steps matters. That's when I think the question changes. The question isn't, do I know enough to start an online business? The question becomes, do I know something that could help somebody else solve a problem or make something easier for them or help them get somewhere they want to go? Because if the answer to that is yes, there may be something there. Not necessarily a business yet, but a beginning. This is particularly important when you're starting later in life because it's easy to go online, look at the younger people who seem to understand social media, YouTube, funnels, email marketing, and AI. And everything seems to move so quickly, it may cause you to look at all of that and think you're way behind, too far behind to start. But hold on, you may be behind them in something that they learned last year, but they may be behind you in something that took you years to learn. And that's the part I don't want you to miss. They may know technology that you don't know yet, but you may know life that they haven't lived yet. And I'm not just saying that to make one person better than the other. I'm saying don't confuse not knowing the technology with not having something valuable to offer. Those are two completely different things. See, you can learn how to make a video. You can learn how to build an email list. You can learn how to create a simple website. And you can learn how to make an offer. You can also learn marketing. Those are skills you can learn. But your experience, your perspective, your ability to say, I've been there, I know what that feels like, here is what worked for me, and here is what I wish somebody had told me. You can't download all those years of experience in a weekend. And maybe you're overlooking something. Maybe you've been so busy trying to catch up that you haven't stopped to look at what you're bringing with you. So I want you to do something very simple for me. Take out a piece of paper and write one question at the top. What do people already come to me for? That's it. Don't try to invent a business. Don't worry about a niche. Don't worry about a course. Don't worry about a logo or a website or what you're going to call yourself. None of those matter yet. Just answer that question and follow with a few more. What do people want your opinion on? What do they tell you you're good at? What do you help people with without even thinking about it? What problems have you solved repeatedly? What did your career teach you? What did raising a family teach you? And what did your failures teach you? And what did starting over teach you? And finally, what has life taught you? So when that little voice says, everybody knows that, write it down. And when it says, nobody would pay for that, write that down anyway. And when it tells you what you're thinking is not important or what you've done is not important, write that down too. Because right now, you're not trying to prove you have a business. You're just trying to discover what you've been overlooking. Now, if you're still sitting there thinking, I honestly don't know what gifts or what I could build from what I know, and some help would be nice trying to figure it out, I have created a free workbook called Discover Your Second Chapter. It will walk you through some of the simple questions to help you uncover what you may already have to build from, and you can download it from the link below. But whether you download it or not, please go through those questions. I want you to stop assuming that your next chapter has to begin with acquiring something that you don't have, because maybe it begins by recognizing what you already have and what you've already done. Because you don't need to know everything to start. And truthfully, neither did everyone else when they started. You learn a lot of those things along the way. And you don't need to have the whole road figured out before you take that first step. So maybe, just maybe, the thing you have been searching for isn't another course. Maybe it's buried in the experiences you have been carrying around for years. Remember, you're not starting from zero, and you're not starting empty-handed. You're starting from experience, and you may already know enough to begin. So until next time, I'm Lorna, and I'll see you in the next video.